The Mercedes-Benz was speeding straight at her like death itself, and Adoni knew, she knew, that everything she had worked for was about to be destroyed in 3 seconds. The crash came like thunder. Red tomatoes exploded everywhere. Her whole capital, gone. Her siblings' food for tomorrow, finished. The sound of her basin hitting the ground was like her heart breaking into pieces. 23 years old, and life had just delivered another blow that would send her to her knees. But before we continue this shocking story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to stay updated. Because what happened next will leave your mouth hanging open. Adoni had been selling tomatoes at Ojulegba market since 5 a.m. that morning. Her feet were burning inside her worn slippers, sweat was pouring down her face like rain, and her voice was already gone from shouting, "Fresh tomatoes. Come and buy." But nobody was buying. They walked past her like she was invisible, like she was nothing, going to the older women with bigger displays. 3 years. 3 years since her father died and left her with 4 younger siblings to feed. Tolu was 15. Femi was 13. Shade was 10. And little Kehind, only 7 years old, still asking when daddy would come back. Their mother. She ran away 2 years ago. Couldn't handle the poverty. Never came back. So Adoni became everything: mother, father, provider, protector. Every blessed morning, she woke up at 3 a.m. Trekked to the farm gate. Bought tomatoes on credit from Alhaji Bello, that wicked man who charged interest that could kill somebody. Carried them on her head back to the market. Sold until her body wanted to collapse. The profit. Small. So painfully small that sometimes she wanted to cry blood. Some days, she made just enough for rice and stew. Other days, nothing. She would have to beg Momangozi for help so her siblings wouldn't sleep with empty stomachs. Now look at what had happened. This expensive car had just crushed everything. When the driver stepped out, Adoni's breath caught in her throat. Tall. Broad shoulders. White kaftan that probably cost more than her entire life. His skin was smooth like butter, jawline sharp like knife, eyes hidden behind designer sunglasses. This man had never suffered a day in his life. Never known what hunger felt like. Never watched siblings cry from empty stomachs. He removed his sunglasses slowly, and when their eyes met, something strange happened. He stared at her like he had forgotten how to breathe. Like the world had stopped moving. But Adoni didn't care about his shock. Tears were burning her eyes as reality hit her like a slap. "My tomatoes," Adoni whispered, her voice breaking into pieces. "You've destroyed everything." "Everything." The man blinked, finding his voice. "I'm so sorry. I didn't see." "You didn't see?" Adoni's pain turned into fire. "You were driving like a madman. Do you know how much these tomatoes cost? Do you know I bought them on credit? Do you know what Alhaji Bello will do to me tomorrow when I can't pay?" The crowd was gathering now. Some people supported her. Others whispered that she should be careful, this man looked too rich to offend. But hunger had made Adoni bold. Suffering had made her fearless. The man raised his hand calmly. "I will pay. I will replace everything. Just tell me how much." Adoni calculated quickly. Her tomatoes, the interest she owed Alhaji Bello, today's lost sales, her siblings' school fees next week. 50,000 naira, she said firmly. The crowd gasped. That was more than the tomatoes were worth, but Adoni didn't shake. She needed every single kobo. The man didn't even blink. He pulled out a leather wallet, thick with crisp notes, and counted out 50,000 naira in front of everybody. "I'm truly sorry for what happened." Adoni took the money with shaking hands, shocked that he didn't argue or bargain. "Who was this man?" "What's your name?" he asked softly. She hesitated. "Adoni." He smiled, And that smile did something to her stomach. I'm Obinna. Obinna Okafor. The name hit her like lightning. Obinna Okafor. Everyone in Lagos knew that name. CEO of OK Tech Solutions. His face was on billboards. His name was in newspapers. This man lived in heaven while she lived in hell. Can I take you somewhere to talk? He asked gently. Adoni's instinct screamed danger. Rich men didn't talk to tomato sellers unless they wanted something bad. I don't need anything else from you. You've paid. We are done. But Obinna shook his head. Please. I want to help properly. You mentioned school fees, debt. Let me do more. Why? Why would you care? He looked at her with something raw, something honest. Because from the moment I saw you, I couldn't look away. Her heart was beating like drum. Against every warning in her head, she whispered, one conversation. That's all. She didn't know that one conversation would change everything. Obinna took her to a restaurant with AC so cold that Adoni's skin developed goosebumps. The waiters looked at her dirty clothes like she was contaminating the place. She wanted to run. But Obinna pulled out a chair for her like she was a queen. Tell me about yourself, he said simply. The words poured out. Her father's death. Her mother's abandonment. 4 siblings, Tolu, Femi, Shade, Little Kehind. The daily struggle. The crushing poverty that never gave her space to breathe. Obinna didn't look at her with pity. He looked at her with respect. Like her suffering made her strong, not weak. I want to help you start a real business, he said. A tomato supply business. I'll provide capital. You manage it. The profit is yours. Adoni stiffened immediately. I don't do those kinds of things. If that's what you want. And no, Obinna cut her off firmly. That's not what I mean at all. Pure business. Nothing else. Why would you do that for a stranger? He smiled sadly. My father was a driver. My mother sold akara by the roadside. I built everything from nothing. I see that same fire in you. How do I know this isn't a trap? You don't. But trust me anyway. Against all logic, Adoni nodded. Okay. I'll try. 2 weeks later, Adoni's life had turned upside down completely. Obinna didn't just talk, he delivered. Small warehouse. Done. Delivery van. Bought. Direct connection to farmers. Established. Her siblings were back in school with new uniforms. Food on the table every single day. For the first time in years, Adoni slept without fear choking her throat. But something else was happening. Something dangerous. She was falling in love with him. The way he played football with Little Kehind. The way he bought textbooks for Tolu and Femi. The way he made Shade laugh with his terrible jokes. And the way he looked at her, not with pity, but with hunger. With tenderness. Like she was precious. One evening, sitting on her new apartment balcony, he took her hand gently. Adoni, his voice was thick with emotion. I didn't plan this. But I'm in love with you. Deeply. Completely. Her breath caught. Obinna, we are from different worlds. Your family, your friends, I don't fit. Then I'll make you fit. I don't care about the difference. I care about you. Her phone rang sharply, shattering the moment. Mama Ngozi's panicked voice, Adoni, run. Alhaji Bello is coming for you with thugs. He's saying you owe him money. They're asking where you live. Adoni's blood turned to ice. She had paid that man everything weeks ago, but he was known for inventing debts. Obinna's expression darkened dangerously. He won't touch you. No one will hurt you while I'm breathing. The next morning, Obinna took her to his office for safety. The Oketech building was glass and steel, reaching the sky like a giant. Employees in expensive suits stared at her simple Ankara dress. But Obinna held her hand firmly, daring anyone to disrespect her. When they entered his office, a woman was already there. Sitting on his desk like she owned it. Light skin. Expensive everything. Perfume filling the room. When she saw Adoni, her eyes turned to knives. Obinna darling, she purred, ignoring Adoni completely. You didn't return my calls. Obinna's jaw tightened. Kayameka, we are done. Stop coming here. Kayameka finally looked at Adoni, her eyes traveling from head to toe like she was examining trash. And who is this? Someone I care about deeply, Obinna said firmly. Adoni, this is Kayameka. She's leaving. But Kayameka laughed, cold and sharp like broken glass. Obinna, please tell me this is a joke. You're replacing me with a market woman. The insult hit Adoni like a slap, but before she could respond, Obinna stepped between them, his voice turning to icy. Kayameka. Get out. Now. Her face twisted with rage. She grabbed her designer bag and stormed toward the door, but turned back with a smile that promised war. Enjoy it while it lasts, sweetheart. Girls like you never keep men like him. You're just a charity project. And when he's done playing hero, you'll be right back in that market where you belong. The door slammed. Adoni's hands trembled. Maybe she's right, she whispered. I don't have a degree. I don't speak perfect English. What happens when you get tired of pretending I'm good enough? Obinna grabbed her shoulders gently but firmly. You're the only woman who wanted nothing from me. The only one who made me work to earn your trust. Don't let her poison what we have. That evening, Obinna confronted Alhaji Bello at the market with his lawyer. The old supplier tried to threaten, but when Obinna mentioned criminal charges for extortion, Alhaji Bello's courage evaporated. He apologized and ran away. Word spread like wildfire. The tomato seller now had protection from Lagos' most powerful man. 3 days later, Obinna's mother requested to meet Adoni. The mansion in Ikoyi was so big, Adoni felt like she had entered a palace. Everything sparkled. Everything whispered money. Mrs. Okafor sat there like a queen. Elegant. Regal. Eyes sharp as razor blades, studying Adoni like she was examining an insect. So, you're the girl my son has been distracted by, Mrs. Okafor said, her voice cold like December harmattan wind. Obinna stiffened beside Adoni. Mother, please be respectful. His mother waved her hand dismissively. This girl is different from what I expected for you. Adoni lifted her chin, refusing to be intimidated. With all due respect, Ma, I never asked to be what you expected. I only asked to be respected. Mrs. Okafor's eyebrows rose, surprised by the firmness in Adoni's voice. Then she leaned forward and dropped the bomb. How much do you want? Adoni blinked in confusion. Sorry. Money. How much money will it take for you to leave my son alone? Name your price. The words hit Adoni like physical blows. She looked at Obinna, whose face had turned dark with fury. Mother, stop this. Now. But Mrs. Okafor ignored him, eyes fixed on Adoni like a snake watching a mouse. Every woman has a price. What's yours? 5 million. 10. 20. Adoni stood slowly, legs shaking but voice steady like rock. You can't buy me, Ma. Not with 5 million, not with 50 million, not with everything you own. I love your son. Not his money. Not his status. Him. And if you can't see that, then I'm sorry for you, because you've spent so long seeing people as transactions that you've forgotten what real love looks like. Mrs. Okafor's face flushed with anger. Adoni turned to Obinna. I'm leaving. I won't be disrespected like this. Obina stood immediately, taking her hand. We are both leaving. As they walked toward the door, Mrs. Okafor's voice followed them, cold and sharp as broken butter. Obina, if you walk out that door with her, don't expect your inheritance. Don't expect my blessing. Don't expect anything from this family. Obina stopped at the door, turned back to his mother, and said quietly but firmly, then I expect nothing. Because I already have everything I need. They left together, hand in hand. But Adoni's heart was heavy. She had just made an enemy of one of the most powerful women in Lagos. The attack started the very next morning. Adoni's phone rang at 6 a.m. Her tomato supplier's voice was nervous. Sister Adoni, I'm sorry. I can't supply you anymore. Orders from above. What? But we have a contract. I'm sorry. He cut the line. By noon, 3 more suppliers had cancelled. No explanation. Just fear in their voices. Then her delivery van. Vandalized. Windscreen smashed. Tires slashed. 3 times in 1 week. The mechanic whispered, Sister, somebody doesn't want you to succeed. Rumors started spreading through the market like poison. Adoni's business is fraud. She's using juju. The money is blood money. People who smiled at her yesterday now whispered behind her back. But Adoni was a fighter. She had survived her father's death. Her mother's abandonment. Years of poverty. She wouldn't break now. She found new suppliers. Hired security. Fixed the van. Kept moving forward like a soldier in battle. Obina stood by her side through everything. His love never wavered. His protection never weakened. And one quiet evening in her apartment, he did something that stopped her heart. He went down on one knee. Adoni, his voice was soft but sure. Marry me. Not because I want to save you. Not because I feel sorry for you. But because my life doesn't make sense without you in it. Tears poured down her face. Yes, she whispered. Yes. For one perfect moment, everything felt right. She had found love. Real love. The kind that didn't care about class or status or what people said. But across town, in a luxury apartment in Victoria Island, Kayamika was meeting with Mrs. Okafor. 2 women united by hatred for the tomato seller who had stolen their control. She's stronger than we thought, Kayamika said, sipping expensive wine. Scaring her isn't enough. Mrs. Okafor's smile was cold. Then we break her. Completely. How? I know people. People who do things for money. Things that send messages. Kayamika leaned forward. What kind of things? The kind that make people run back to where they came from. Or wish they had. Neither woman knew that their plan would go horribly, catastrophically wrong. The call came at 11:47 p.m. Adoni was sleeping when her phone exploded with the security guard's screams, Fire! Madam, fire! The warehouse is burning. She shot up from bed, her heart pounding like it wanted to escape her chest. No. 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 She threw on clothes and raced through Lagos streets, breaking every traffic rule. When she turned the corner to Bold Thomas Street, she saw it, orange flames reaching toward the sky like hungry demons. Smoke so thick it blocked out the stars. Her entire business. Her entire future. Burning. But then she heard something that made her blood freeze. Screaming. From inside the warehouse. Emeka is still inside, somebody shouted. The security man is trapped. Mr. Emeka. 60 years old. Father of 4 children. He took this job because nobody else would hire him at his age. People were shouting, don't go in. You'll die. Wait for fire service. But Adoni didn't think. She couldn't think. She just ran. straight into the flames. The heat hit her like a physical war. Smoke filled her lungs immediately, choking her, blinding her. She couldn't see, couldn't breathe. The fire roared around her like a living monster, eating everything in its path. Emeka, she screamed, but the smoke swallowed her voice. She stumbled through the inferno, her clothes starting to smoke, her skin screaming from the heat. Then she saw him collapsed near the back exit, unconscious, the flames getting closer. She grabbed him under his arms and dragged. Her muscles screamed. Her lungs begged for air. But she dragged him, inch by inch, toward the door. Just as she burst through the exit, pulling Mr. Emeka with her, she saw Obinna. He had abandoned his car in traffic and sprinted here. The look on his face, pure terror. She collapsed, coughing violently, her clothes singed, her skin burning. Obinna caught her, his whole body shaking. Adoni. His voice broke completely. Don't you ever do something like that again. Do you hear me? I can't lose you. I can't. She looked up at him, her face covered in soot, and smiled weakly. He has 4 children, Obinna. I couldn't let him die. That's when Obinna realized something that shook him to his core. He wasn't just in love with her beauty or her strength. He was in love with her soul. The kind of goodness that would run into fire for another human being. The fire chief pulled Obinna aside, his face grim. This was arson. Someone said this deliberately. Obinna's blood turned to ice. Someone had tried to kill the woman he loved. Someone was going to pay. The police moved fast. They found the thugs who set the fire within 2 days. Under intense questioning, one of them broke. His confession was a bombshell that would shake Lagos society to its core. He named Kayamika. The police traced the money trail, a direct transfer from Kayamika's personal account to the leader of the gang. The phone records confirmed it, dozens of calls between them in the days leading up to the fire. But the real shock came when the thug revealed who Kayamika was working with. Obinna's own mother. The evidence was undeniable. Security footage from a hotel showing Mrs. Okafor and Kayamika meeting with the thugs. Text messages discussing the plan. A conspiracy to commit arson and, if necessary, murder. The news spread like a virus. Prominent lawyer and society matriarch arrested for attempted murder. Kayamika's career was over. Destroyed. Disbarred. Disgraced. Mrs. Okafor's humiliation was complete. The queen of Lagos society was now a common criminal. Obinna used every connection he had, not to save them, but to contain the scandal, to protect his family's name from being dragged through the mud any further. But the final decision rested with Adoni. She was the victim. She held all the power. One signature from her, and Mrs. Okafor would go to prison for years. One word, and Kayamika's life would be over forever. They had tried to kill her. They had almost succeeded. Justice demanded punishment. Revenge demanded blood. Adoni sat in the quiet hospital room, bandages on her arms, the police evidence file on her lap. She looked at Obinna, his face torn with pain, the man she loved, trapped between the woman who gave him life and the woman he wanted to spend his life with. Revenge would feel good for a moment. But mercy would give her freedom forever. She picked up the pen. And what she did next would shock everyone. 6 months later, Adoni stood in a beautiful wedding dress. Not expensive, not imported, but made by a local tailor with fabric she chose herself. Simple. Elegant. Perfect. She had chosen mercy. She had refused to press full charges, agreeing to a settlement that legally barred both women from ever coming near her or her business again. Mrs. Okafor attended the small wedding ceremony. Her face was humbled, her eyes stripped of pride. In front of everyone, Adoni's siblings, Mama Ngozi, a few close friends, she walked up to Adoni and bowed her head. I let pride and fear control me, she said, her voice shaking. But you've shown me that love isn't about status or wealth. It's about character. And you, Adoni, have more character than anyone I've ever met. Please, forgive me. Tears filled Adoni's eyes. She hugged her mother-in-law. We are family now. Let's start again. As Obinna and Adoni exchanged their vows, he looked into her eyes and whispered, "You taught me that real wealth isn't money. It's finding someone who makes you want to be better. Someone worth fighting for. Someone worth everything." And Adoni whispered back, "You taught me that I was always worthy. I just needed someone to see it." They kissed as husband and wife. The tomato seller who the world said wasn't good enough became the wife of a man who knew she was worth more than all the gold in the world. Their story became a legend in the market. Adoni never forgot where she came from. She would visit Mom Ngozi, buy tomatoes, and tell any young girl who would listen. Never let anyone make you believe you're not enough. You are exactly who you're supposed to be. And the right person will see it, honor it, and protect it with everything they have. Not because a man saved her, but because she never stopped believing she deserved to be saved.